Hello and welcome back to another edition of the American Scouser podcast. Today we're going to talk about the game at Bournemouth and then a little bit of a preview of the Napoli game coming up on Tuesday. With me, I have Timucin and Dave. Hi, guys.
Hey.
How's it going?
All right, so I want to get your first reactions, your first thoughts on that game.
Do you want to get excited at it, Dave? I'll let you go first.
I thought it was the perfect game. I thought we were good. I didn't think we were brilliant. I thought we were just very good. I just think it felt like we could just step it up at any time, to be honest. I think we when you get the second goal, I think they were killed off, in effect, just after half time. I think that kind of really hurt them. And I think then we just went back into second gear. We all know about the game on the weekend. I think the players do. And I just think it was kind of a training exercise, in effect. The one main positive, apart from Salah, of course, I think was Joel Matip. That was a big game for him. Really big game, especially with the injuries of Joe Gomez. I thought he played well. I thought he'd done what he had to do. I thought it was just the perfect game. When the Reds win 4-0 and don't really get out of second gear very often, it can only be what we need, really, especially before Tuesday. So, yeah.
I thought so too. Matip, I agree. I thought that was very important because giving him the confidence going into the games ahead, and I thought he played really well. So that was a great sign to see. I thought we clicked a lot better in the second half offensively in terms of our passing game. That was great to see. We're able to get everybody some playing time, no injuries, and it was kind of like a win-win. And at the end, it was kind of like an easy win. The first half didn't seem like it, but it just felt like, I don't know, I felt like I never felt threatened that Bournemouth was going to get us this game. It was more of are we going to be able to get a goal in? And getting that goal, and I know it was offsides, but went our way for once. And getting that relatively early in the game, I think really helped the second half because Bournemouth had to come out. Any team that tries to come out at us, especially with the solidity we have in the back line now, we're going to eventually score on the counter is how I feel. Like anytime we get the ball, especially with the guys we have up front, something's going to happen. And it did. So, and Salah getting out of his, so-called funk was great. I thought it was like a great confidence builder going into tougher games and going back to Burnley and Bournemouth and getting 6 points out of it. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I agree completely. I think the main one is, of course, with the Bournemouth game and with the Burnley game as well, just to go out and make it look so easy. To be fair, it was kind of easy. The first 30 minutes, of course, they're always going to have a go. I think the key is for Liverpool now, we kind of played Bournemouth at the right time as well. They were on the back of a 3-game week, which is something they're not used to. They're not used to playing 3 games in a week. Liverpool are, with the Champions League, of course. And I think also with Liverpool, we're a lot more of a patient team now. I think they go, well, if you guys don't want to engage with us and if you want to just go and put 10 men behind the ball, we'll just pick it off towards the end. I think they always back their ability to score a goal at least. But of course, Bournemouth came out to play and they can't just play it into our hands. I just thought the offside goal, I thought it was just a matter of time anyway, to be honest. I thought we would have just turned the screw a bit more and eventually would have got the goal anyway. So, no, it was a great game all around, really, just for the sheer results and just a perfect confidence builder, really.
Yeah, I have to agree with every point that's been made. I think that there were, some shaky moments in that first half. Some mistakes that were made, and they didn't punish us for them. And then we really got into a rhythm. That second half was pretty awesome to watch. It was electric and just we got to see that high intensity and that pressure that we were kind of so used to that we haven't been seeing lately. And so I think that amped it up. It was so much fun to watch. And then Mo getting the hat trick was just awesome. And then Milner's 500th game and everything like that. So it was a great game, and it like kind of settled my nerves. I felt like this month and like talking about everything that's coming up just like amplified my nerves so much. And I don't know, watching that game just kind of deflated them a little bit. But I don't know, maybe the podcast is gonna help bring those back. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Tuesday. But going into that, what did you guys think about Milner at right back?
I thought, what else can you do? You know, you've got to rest Trent. You have to rest players. You just have to. You know, Nathaniel Klein's played one game all season, which was in the cup, and he wasn't brilliant, and we lost the game. You know, and I just think with a guy like Milner, who can do that, he can fill in so many different positions. I thought he played really well. I thought he got up and down the line really well, especially with tricky players like they've got, like Junior Stanislas and Ryan Fraser. They're quick, tricky players on the ball. I thought he could cope really well. But yeah, I don't think he'll play against Napoli. I think that's the other thing. I think Trent will start, and I just don't even think he'll play in midfield. You know, I'm sure we're going to get onto that. So I think, it was the right decision. By Klopp, he's got it right again. You know, just dropping. Well, you know, do you play Klein there? Do you take that chance? Not for me. Do you play Fabinho there? Which is the other option, which I thought which you would have done. I wouldn't expect to change Milner, of course, but you know, no, it was played really well in the game. So yeah, no, I thought it was the right decision in the end.
Yeah, man, I thought he did really well. I mean, that's the thing with his experience. He kind of knows almost how to play every position at this point, and he knows the system really well to know what is expected of that position in Klopp's system. And I think when you have two center backs that are relatively fast for a center back, you can afford to have a right back that might not have that pace, like in terms of like the sprint speed. And Milner's smart enough to play in a way where that, you know, lack of like the sprint speed is not much of a factor. And I thought he did really well overall. I mean, it kind of helps, especially in a game like this where we're trying to open up a defense. I think it almost helps having like a midfield player with better ball handling skills play in that position, especially a guy like Milner who has like great delivery into the box and stuff like that too. So like watching the press conference, I was expecting like some obnoxious surprise, just the way like Klopp made it sound. I didn't think Milner was and I was surprised to see him starting over Trent, but obviously we're saving Trent for the Napoli game, and it was probably the second best logical option to put. I don't think putting Fabinho over there, who plays right back for Brazil at times, but still, I mean, he's barely used to what we expect out of him in the midfield position at Liverpool, so I expect him to step into that role is probably kind of risking it, especially keeping that defensive line in check. So, no, I thought it was a good move. Good to see him get his 500th game. I thought it was really classy of Salah to give his Man of the Match award to him. It's just like one big likable team. So that seems to get along and play well together. So, man, we got a tough month ahead, but we definitely got like an awesome start to it. So I just hope that they keep the momentum going.
Yeah. How did you feel about having the kind of Keita and Shaqiri in the roles that they played in the game? Did you think that they were both kind of successful, or what were your thoughts on their performances, especially since they both got substituted out?
I thought it was it's a good midfield to open up a defense for sure. I feel like both of them at times try a bit too hard to create something, especially with Shaqiri, which obviously sometimes pays off. Sometimes it just results in like a turnover in a way. But I mean, there are two players on the field where when they have the ball, you're kind of like, what are they going to do? Whereas, they're not going to play plain. They're going to try to create something. So you kind of like gets, the plus and the minus. I thought both played well. I took it as Klopp, with the game in hand, was trying to balance everybody's minutes, because it's not like we play Napoli and then we just, go on vacation. We have a bunch of games coming back to back to back that are like really key games. So I actually thought I was really impressed with how we were able to get everybody just the right amount of playing time without really wearing anybody down. Exception would be, like David is saying, I think, with Milner playing the full game, I don't think we will see Milner play against Napoli. I think we'll keep him basically against Arsenal. I mean, Man United game. But apart from that, it felt like everybody got good playing time where, especially in the midfield, everybody got rest, everybody got play. I thought it was like perfectly balanced.
Yeah, for me, I think Shaqiri's key. I think he's key to Liverpool. I really do. The way he can see a pass, the little dink ball that he always tries over the defence, little 10-yard pass straight over the defender, trying to find runners. I really do think he's key at getting Liverpool, setting Liverpool off. Of course, Keita, the last 2 games have been good. With the Burnley and the Bournemouth performance, he's been good. So he might be that kind of missing link also. But I think it kind of shows you what Klopp's going to do against Napoli. I think he starts the same team. I just think he drops Trent back in. And I think the key is now, does he bring Shaqiri back into the centre with Keita and Fabinho and play Mane? I think that's what he will do. I think Shaqiri and Keita start, which kind of shows you where when we first signed him, Shaqiri, we all thought, well, he's going to get 20 games a season. He'll get 15 minutes here and there, few cup games, few Newcastle at home, Cardiff at home he may play. Now in the space of 4 or 5 months, he's become a really key player, which really is props to him, in effect, because when I didn't want him, and I'll say this right now, I did not want Shaqiri. When I used to watch him, I thought he lost the ball too much. I thought he made too many pot shots from 35 yards. And then I also remember he's got Charlie Adam giving the ball, so it's tough for him when you've got Charlie Adam and trying to pass the ball to you. So he's playing with better players, and he looks like a really complete player. He works so hard as well, which I didn't see at Stoke. I think Klopp has instilled that into him. So, no, I'm happy with the formation. I like the Fabinho, Keita, Shaqiri three in midfield. I think that's the way we got to go, especially for Napoli. Not sure about Man United, but especially for the Napoli game, I think we have to win the game, of course, and we should not concede. Well, it makes it easier if we don't concede. So, no, I would play all three, in my opinion.
I think playing them both at the same time, by the way, takes that pressure away. I feel like when it's only Shaqiri out there playing that almost like an attacking mid kind of position, he feels like he has to do something every time he has the ball. Having Keita in there with occasionally Firmino dropping off, it almost takes that, like the full load away from having to create. And obviously gives defenses more to think about, because now you have multiple guys that are constantly moving around and they all can create. So especially like both of them can go at players dribbling, and if they have like a full head of steam coming, they're really good on the ball. So it's awesome to see. It's risky in some ways playing them against Napoli, but I think since we do have to win, you're almost gonna probably have to roll the dice.
And how did you feel about Lallana coming on, even though he didn't exactly play for like 10 minutes while he was on? How did you feel about that performance?
Just think I think it's Lallana's luck. He gets a chance to come on for 20 minutes and gets taken off for 10. It's just, he can't buy a minute, can he? Fair play. I don't know where he plays. I don't know. He looked actually really good when he was on the pitch. He looked hardy, kept the ball moving, which I think he's probably a better option off the bench in the Napoli game. And now, if you would have asked me 2-3 games ago, would you bring Lallana on? No, but the way he played in them 20 minutes, I'm thinking to myself, if it gets to the 75th minute and we're 0-0, would you bring Lallana on to try and unlock the key? Unlock the door, maybe? With his cute passing, keeps the ball moving quickly, never really passes back. So, no, he impressed me in what he was on the pitch. I still think it's the most ridiculous rule ever that you can't have a bit of blood on your shirt before you got to come back on. I think the guy had 6 different shirts. I think in the end he went on with Mignolet's shirt. I was just like, come on, man, get the guy back on the field. It's 5 minutes to go. It doesn't make any difference.
I thought he had a shirt on that had no number.
Yeah, that's the standard in the Premier League. So you have 2 shirts for Liverpool. So you'd have 2 shirts and then you have a backup shirt with the no number, which is what he had to use. In the end, he kept swapping shirts. I was just like, what? Just take Mignolet's. It's the cleanest shirt in the room. Hasn't worn it all season. Take that one.
But I think he trashed the second one as he was switching it and got that all bloody as well. I'm just the guy that gets struck by lightning 3 times.
I thought I saw him wipe his face with a clean shirt.
I think it's that thing, isn't it, with your kids when you change the t-shirt. Now don't go and get that messy, and he goes and gets it messy within 5 minutes. You're like, man, we're trying to play a football match, and I love how eager he was to get back on. We're 4-0 up with 3 minutes to go, and he was like, come on, get me back on. And you're like, chill out, relax. Like, if we're 1-0 down, I'm all for your eagerness. Just relax for a second. But no, really funny. And I thought he played well when he came on. He did what he had to do. So,
I mean, he's a good player. The guy just has terrible luck. I mean, like I say, like he's the guy that gets struck by lightning like 3 times. It's like everything seems to happen to him. Felt bad so bad because he was doing good, and then you can see his eagerness to play. I feel like, I mean, I don't see him, being a part of the starting lineup, if you will, unless maybe it's in the FA Cup or something like that. But I think it's a great player to bring in both cases. I mean, in a game like this where we had a comfortable lead, to give people some rest, and it's a great player to have on the counter because of his passing and his movement. He works hard on the field in terms of like his pressing and stuff like that, so you're not gonna lose anything defensively. So I think he's a great guy to bring in. Like Dave says, in a game where you're struggling to open a defense, it's a good guy to bring in too, because he can bring like a different element on the field. So I think as long as he stays healthy and doesn't crack a skull, I think he will like get minutes. I just don't see him ever being like starter or being like the key again. But I mean, he's a quality player. I mean, he's great on the ball. It's an awesome squad player to have, and I think he's accepted that role. And obviously, he wants to get more minutes, so hopefully he can crack into the starting lineup. But I think initially he was going to be that guy that Ox was last year. And, of course, injuries again. And he was doing really well in the beginning. And then, like I say, with injuries and stuff, he just can't stay healthy. And some of it is just unlucky. Just feel bad for the guy, really.
Yeah, definitely. So before we get into the Champions League, talking about that game, I did want to ask about the High Line and how you guys think that's going, and do you think it's ever going to come back and haunt us, what we're doing with that, or is it just like, what do you think about that?
For me, I think it's all Virgil. I think he looks at Virgil and goes, how do you want to play? I honestly think that, and I'm not saying, Klopp seems like a very personal manager where he can go up and ask his players questions of like, where do you want to play? Where's your favourite position? Where do you want to be on the ball? And he tries to work around his best players. And I think he goes to Virgil, where do you prefer to play? And he goes, well, I prefer on my free kicks, I prefer to be 10 yards further forward. And I think he just goes, go on then. But you're managing it. I noticed a very key part. I don't know if everyone's seen the Alisson save against Burnley and the counter-attack. I think the key part is when he makes the save. Virgil, you'll have to watch it back. He runs 10 yards forward, and every single player follows Virgil. Every player. You'll have to watch it back. I only watched the game yesterday, and I was literally, every player followed him. Like, so for example, if a player was late and Burnley would have been onside, he would have had someone to blame. And went, well, you follow me. I'm always the last man. And I think it's all about Virgil. I really do. I think he just looks and goes, well, I want to play it like this. I want to do it like that. I like this much space. I don't like a defender coming that close to me and things like that. And I think he just kind of controls it and kind of takes ownership of it. And the way we're defending, I've kind of got no issues with it because, and I don't think it's an underestimation that he's been probably our best signing the last 10 years. We've missed the centre-back so much since before Carragher retired, even because there was only really Carragher. Skater wasn't world class. He was good. Agger the same. This is a world class footballer, and I just think he just controls and does whatever he likes to do in the defence. In my opinion.
I mean, I think, to answer the question, it'll probably eventually, hurt us. But how many times? I mean, we've been doing it all season, and it's been working. How many potential situations have we avoided by, executing it successfully? So I think it's a very good trade-off, even if it does burn us once here and once there. I mean, somebody's going to eventually, trip, not be able to move up. Something's going to happen, or somebody's not going to hold the line well, or the linesman is going to miss the call, or something like that. But I think it's well worth the trade-off, because by holding that line, I mean, we avoided so many situations in the box where the ball can bounce here, bounce there, somebody tap it in. I mean, how many goals have we conceded like that? Mind you, it was Mignolet in goal, but, nobody coming out to grabbing the ball, it's bouncing around, three of three Liverpool players go to the ball at once, ball bounces the other way, the guy just taps it in. I mean, I can just recall, it's like having flashbacks, like a ton of goals that we've conceded like that. So being able to keep that ball out of there avoids the hassle by itself, and you still have, even if they do go through and get a header in or something, you have a guy like Alisson in goal. So it will probably hurt us down the road. I mean, hopefully it'll be in a meaningless game. I will go from 3-0 to 3-1 or something like that. But I think even then, the trade-off is well in our favor, because we avoid a lot of just silly situations that could happen. And I agree. I mean, obviously Van Dijk leading that line, but that's like a whole team being drilled constantly to be able to do the right thing. It's not the easiest thing to pull everybody up at the same time, and they've been doing very well. Hopefully we didn't jinx it with this conversation, but I think they've been really good at it, and it's, like I said, it's kept us out of really tricky situations.
Mm.
And just to touch on that Alisson header, what do you think his thinking was? Was it that he didn't think he could punch it, or was it the back pass? Like what? Or does it just that I can do this really badass header right now? When am I gonna get this opportunity again?
I'll be sending them off for corners. I'll be like that on the corner now. Even in the 20th minute, I'll be like, go up. Go on. You're the best header we got in the team. You haven't scored a header off a corner in so long. Get him up there. But I mean, for me, I think it's a bit of both. I think it's the back pass, which it was never going to be called as a back pass, but I think that was one thing. I think the other thing is if he goes with his arms and he catches the guy with the elbow, or something as much as that, I'm not saying it's going to be a foul, but you're giving the referee a question. You're giving and I think he's trying to avoid giving the referee a question. So that was my opinion on a brilliant header. See how far away? I'm about 40 yards. It's like a pass. Unbelievable, man.
I honestly think he didn't think he was going to get that high.
Probably.
Because, I mean, first of all, I don't think it was a back pass, which, okay, he's playing it safe. That's fine. I honestly think part of it is it's Alisson being Alisson. He's like, I can do it, so I will do it kind of thing. And the second part is I really think he got a lot higher than he thought he would. And he was like, I'm here, might as well head it, as opposed to punching it away or something like that. But yeah, I mean, he got up there, didn't he? It was like, holy cow. It looked like, his head was where his fist should be if he was jumping up. So yeah, I mean, the guy's amazing. I think he's been excellent, had a couple of good saves again. His presence by itself. I mean, I was talking to somebody earlier this week about, Matip's performance. I think he plays well because there's somebody like Van Dijk next to him. And I think that defensive line plays well because there's somebody like Alisson behind them. It's just that confidence that you have with the guy behind you. I mean, he's been, you were talking about how important of a signing Van Dijk has been. And yeah, he is. I mean, that's a good debate by itself, I think. But yeah, I think in the last decade, he could be the best signing we've had. And at this pace, Alisson is not really far behind, knowing he could be in this goal for a decade.
Yeah, I think the other key is as well here. There is a good thing that comes out of losing the Champions League final, isn't it, guys? Hey, because I tell you what, it would have been Karius in goal. So no, I'm all for at the time you think, oh no, the world's ending, we've lost the Champions League final. Then you bring in someone like Alisson, and you're like, well, it isn't so bad now, is it? The guy with, crisp packet for hands and holograms, he's gone, and we got this wonderful, beautiful man in goal. You just feel so safe. Liverpool take a 1-0 lead, and you're like, well, we're not losing this game. You just feel, and that's kind of crazy for Liverpool. I used to feel a bit like that under Rafa Benitez, but that's crazy for Liverpool. You take a 1-0 lead, and you just think, well, they're never going to score two. Especially on the league, they're never going to score two. So no, he's a genius, brilliant. And this season, for me, he's the best keeper in the league. Of course, because De Gea, I still think outright is, but based on this season's performance, he's the best keeper in the league.
Well, so let's get into that, because I was just looking at their stats compared side by side. Just
that almost set up nicely done. Go ahead.
His complete stats from last season versus kind of, we're almost at that halfway point with Alisson, and so he had a total of 18 clean sheets, and Alisson has 10 right now. Do you see him continuing to go forward at that? I mean, I know it's gonna have other. It's not just him, but do you think that he's gonna be able to get to what De Gea did last season, or even better? Or how do you see how he's gonna go forward through the rest of the season?
I think barring an injury, I don't see why he would do worse. I mean, we have a tough month coming up over here against some good opponents, but I just feel like, he is what he is, unless, we do something differently. See, now, if the second half of the season we change how we play and we go back to the more gegenpressing and, less solid in the back, less safe of an approach, things can change. Then maybe, we'll score more. We might consider one or two more here and there. But if things stay the same, barring like I say, another key injury in defense, I just don't see why it would change, to be honest.
Yeah, well, all these records, I think you'll get that comfortably. I'm not confident in us now. I'll be amazed. Like, for example, playing Man United next week, I'll be amazed if they even have a shot on target against us. So, for me, these records only matter if you win something. So, Pepe Reina was a brilliant goalkeeper, but he didn't win anything. I think he won the league. So he won the FA Cup and the League Cup. Okay, but they're not the top prizes that we're all in this for. We have a chance to really win a top prize, one of the biggest prizes, like we did last season. Of course, he wasn't in goal, but I think we'd look back if Liverpool go on to win the league, which is what we all hope and wish for. We would look back and go, that was a great season, because you remember those little games. You remember his header against Bournemouth. If Liverpool go on and finish second and go, the Champions League in the last 16, the last 8, then, those kind of memories get kind of jaded. He's a top goalkeeper. I don't think, touching what Tim said, I don't think we're going to change. I think this is Liverpool now. I think we have more control over games. I think Liverpool back themselves on the 75th, 80th minute and go, if it's going to be 0-0 on the 80th minute, it's going to be 0-0. I still think we can score. I think that's what Liverpool do now. I think Liverpool will back themselves to score inside 10 minutes. And for me, I think he'll beat De Gea's record. But if you look at De Gea, he hasn't won anything since Alex Ferguson left. He won the Europa League and the FA Cup and things. But last season, when he got that great record, didn't win anything, in effect. So I think it all about matters if you win. It's all about if you win the big trophies. And that's when we'll look back on him and look back on the season, I think, and go, yeah, he was a game changer.
I think it's also that he had conceded like almost 30 goals, and Alisson is at 6. Is also that we like, I know we're at the halfway point almost, yeah. And it's like when we are conceding, it's kept at one goal, So I know. I agree with everything you said, though. It doesn't matter in the end if there's no silverware.
That's what it's all about. That's what we're all in for.
Yep. Well, with that in mind, should we start talking about Champions League? Or it's going to trigger some anxiety in me. What going into this game, what do you think is the most important thing that we have to do? I know it's going to be at Anfield, but what to make it different than what we saw in that horrible pile of whatever that happened in Italy? What do you think is the most important thing that they have to move forward and do against this Napoli team?
I, I score early would be nice. To score inside the first 10. I to be fair, Ancelotti, he's making all the right noises. You know, the atmosphere doesn't fear us. You know, we won't be intimidated. We've heard it all before. Every manager says it when they come and get beat. So if it doesn't fear you, it might not fear you. It must fear your players. Because I hear all the same things when these big games come around and these opposing managers come. And they go, oh, it doesn't fear us. Oh, you know, we're not affected by that kind of atmosphere. Why do you always get beat 3 or 4-0 then? So, or, you know, you're always on the receiving end of a defeat. For me, I'm not even worried. I know that sounds, because I just back Liverpool to win. And I think Ancelotti's in a very, very tough position. Liverpool aren't. Liverpool's, what's your game plan? You've got to win the game. Do you stick or twist? That's if you're Ancelotti. You know, do you stick and go, well, if we keep them at 1, you know, if I keep it tight, they score 1. But I always back us to score on the counter. Does he think like that? Does he think, you know what, let's just make it a tennis match and just go for it? But then I can get beat 3 or 4-0. I think he's in probably one of the most toughest positions right now for the manager, thinking for the next 2-3 days, where do I go here? I really do. And I think Liverpool will win the game. But I just think it's going to be really interesting how they set up. For me personally, I think he's going to play the Italian way. I think he's going to go, right, we're going to play this defensively, and we're going to get to half-time at 0-0, and then I might try and tweak it a little bit. You know, I think he's in a really tough position.
I don't know. I hope. I mean, yeah, ideally an early goal would, you know, open things up and make them come out, which would kind of like, you know, play into our hands. Just got to be patient because they're going to play tough defense as Italian teams can do, and they're good at it. And they have some good defensive players. They have a really tough midfield. What I fear more is the fact that they have some speed up front that can hurt us in a counter. That's why I feel actually that, I mean, before we totally get into it, I guess, but I feel like Henderson will start because he will be the one that is going to play the safest, stay probably back to prevent the counter, take the foul if he has to. So I feel like he will start over Fabinho on this one. It's going to be interesting to see how Klopp, I guess, approaches it. I mean, do we do what we were talking about earlier? Do we put both Keita and Shaqiri out there with our front three and let them go to work? I think that would be the smartest scenario, where you play Hendo in front of the back four, and you almost have like 5 playing it safe, and you're throwing 5 really good attacking power at him, hopefully to crack him open, get a goal in. Once we get a goal in, it will open up the game. I'm always it's good to have David here because I'm always the pessimist. I always think of the worst case scenario, but I will worry until the game ends. But I think to me personally, I feel like I would rather. I know, we want to go in the Champions League. Maybe that's why I'm not as stressed as I normally would be. We do want to go in the Champions League, and I would like us to progress, especially for attracting, the names down the road for us to sign next summer and stuff like that. But honestly, if somebody came to me right now and offered a trade between, winning this Napoli game versus a win against United, Arsenal, and City, I'm taking the latter. I'm taking those 3 wins and running with it because I think we have a great shot at it, and I really would like to see us win the league. Not that it's one or the other, obviously, but maybe that's why in the back of my head I'm not as stressed as I normally would be because, like I say, in the back of my heart, I really want the league more than the Champions League at the moment.
Yeah, I think for me, if you offered me right now, the perfect scenario would be for Liverpool for me, beat Napoli and then go out in the last 16. That might be controversial. I don't really care. But because we have a chance here to win the league against the best side to play in the Premier League, and that's not an over exaggeration at all. This side got 100 points last season. I do not want to go in the Europa League. I do not want to play Thursday, Sunday. That affects our league, in my opinion. If you offer me right now, beat Napoli and go out, I don't even care who to in the last 16. I would take it, as long as Liverpool win the league, of course. And when's that game? I think it's February. At time, I think it's the end of February, the last 16 or the start of February. I'd take it all day. The Napoli game, to me, of course, we have to win the game. You need to win every game. But Liverpool got a chance to win the league, and that's all that matters. Liverpool have to win the league. Of course, winning both would be absolutely wonderful. I can't really, decide, which one I'd celebrate more. But winning both would be absolutely fantastic, Liverpool. So if you can go out and do that, that'll be absolutely wonderful. But that makes my life a lot easier. But I mean, if you have to choose, yeah, I'd go out in the last 16, and I don't care who to. I don't care if you get beat 10-0 as long as Liverpool win the league.
Wow. Okay.
Might be controversial, but I mean, I'm sorry. I've seen Liverpool win the Champions League, and this league, when you get this monkey off your back, you win one, you can always be in the conversation. You can still be in. You're never going to win one and finish 8th or 9th, like we were doing under Brendan Rodgers. Right, you finish 2nd and then finish 7th. That's never going to happen with this team. This team's built. If you win one, then you can just go again in the Champions League the year after. But we have a chance because next season, Man United might bring a good manager in instead of the one they got now, and they might push on. Arsenal might bring a couple more players in. We have a chance. It's a 2-horse race. Let's not make it next season and make it a 5 or 6-horse race. It's a 2-horse race right now, and I just think we have a great chance of doing it. So,
I think that this is also an interesting time in the Champions League because a bunch of the giants from the last couple of years are struggling. So I mean, it doesn't feel like it's the same as it was in the last 2 or 3 goes. That's why I feel like we actually have a chance. Last season I didn't think we had a chance to go anywhere, and look where we went with it. But that was insane. But getting back onto this, how would you see the team lining up for us to get that win against Napoli?
So like I said, my ideal scenario is I think having the Trent back there instead of Milner. You can have Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson on left. I think you put Henderson in front of him. You put Keita and Shaqiri as mid, and then you have the front three: Mane, Salah, Firmino up front. I think it will tell a lot about how we're coming out to see how Klopp picks the midfield. Do we see Genie out there instead of maybe Keita or Shaqiri? I really feel like he will put Hendo in there because in terms of defensive responsibility coming to their mind first, I think Henderson is the one in midfield who does that. Then I would say Milner, then Genie, and then you would put Keita and Shaqiri. And I think we don't want to concede, so I think we'll see Henderson. It's going to really depend on if he wants to go all out from the get-go and throw those two guys out there. They both got enough rest, I think. But I think that's my ideal lineup. I would let's just go for it. Put Keita and Shaqiri up there with Henderson, and the rest of the roster pretty much fills itself, really.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm kind of the same, but I'll play Fabinho over Henderson. I think with the pace of the game, I don't think it's going to be, a high-intensity, high-paced game. And I think with Fabinho just being a bit cleverer, I believe in Henderson and can get us on the front foot more. I would play Fabinho. I'd start the same side, but I'd play Fabinho, Keita and Shaqiri. But it's kind of a 50-50 toss-up, really. If whoever plays centre midfield against Napoli, the opposite one's playing against Man United. So I think that's more of the interesting side. So if Henderson plays against Napoli, I'll be amazed if Fabinho doesn't play against Man United. So it's really interesting, actually, to see what he's going to start.
Yeah, definitely. And it was Genie, Milner, and Keita who started when we went to Napoli, right? And that was when he went injured in the first 20 minutes off the field, right?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't see Genie playing in this game. I'd have to agree and say I think I would play Fabinho, but I think it's going to be Henderson too. I agree with that, and I want to see Shaqiri and Keita start again because I think that's we've got to see a goal in the first 20 minutes. In my opinion, that's how it's got to go, and then it's just going to be goals, 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 hopefully, but at least two, hopefully. um, so you all think that he does start the front three as Firmino, Mane, and Salah?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Has to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that leaves you, Sturridge on the bench. If you're getting desperate, so you need another goal, you can throw him in there. Maybe push Firmino back a little and stuff like that. Gives you some more power to come off the bench, and that's probably the risk about coming out with Keita and Shaqiri, because you don't have a lot more offensive power coming off the bench that way. But yeah, and going back to like talking about the Champions League, I agree with David saying the Europa League will not help the cause at all. But I feel like if it comes to that, that's where we see squad players playing in the Europa League. Especially if our run is continuing in the league, we start, we prioritize the league, and if it's Europa League, it is what it is. Because when we were going to Europa League, when we went to the final, that was kind of our chance, our opportunity to be able to get into the Champions League. So we were still going at it full speed. I don't see us going. If something does happen and we get a draw on Tuesday and go down to the Europa League, I feel like that will be Manuel running out there with Moreno and Lallana and then the gang, as opposed, and we would keep
Scuba gang
squad to the league game. So
yeah, and see, but we can see the Lord Divock Origi play more. The new Lord, Sir Divock Origi. So I would take, if you offer me right now, Napoli 0-0 in the 96th minute, Divock Origi. Come on, that's what dreams are made of. I'm going to build a statue next to Shankly outside the ground if he does it. Come on, Divock, my guy.
All right, so how do we see the scoreline ending on Tuesday?
I don't think they'll score. I think it'll be comfortable. 3-0 Liverpool. I think we'll score early. I think you get to 2-0 at half time. I think they're finished. And I think probably hit them on the counter attack. They'll make some crazy substitution, like Ancelotti usually likes to make. And I think we just hit them on the counter attack and win comfortably.
Oh God, man, it's good to have people like David around.
We're really good, We're really, really good.
They are, and that's why I think they will get it. I'm expecting a crazy game, and if we go through, I say we win 4-2.
Oh God, I don't want that. What are you doing to me? Give me heart attacks.
Well, yeah, welcome to my world. But this is how I roll. But yeah, I feel like they will get a goal, and if the game really opens up, I can see it like a high-scoring game. It's either going to be one of those where it's going to be a typical Italian game. They're going to buckle up, and we're not going to be able to open them up, and it's going to go 0-0 until maybe Origi comes in. Or it's going to, if we get an early goal in, especially if things start opening up, we're going to score a lot, and they're going to score, and it's going to be a high-scoring ordeal. But like I say, maybe because of my preference for the league, I'm not as nervous, which means things will hopefully go well, because it usually goes worse when I'm nervous. But I say, yeah, we win a crazy score, 4-2 or 5-2 or something like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 4-1 Liverpool.
We won't concede. Come on, guys. We'll never. Come on. Have you seen our defense? We never concede at home. Come on.
I'm worried about the counter, and I think that's what worries me the most. They have some speed out there. That's when we're going full speed trying to score, I'm just worried that they're going to be able to counter on us, kind of like what we do with most teams, like what we did to Roma. And so, but yeah, you never know. I'm just definitely going to be a good game. Napoli is like a really good team. But I mean, we were able to open up PSG, but they're a lot more disciplined than PSG is what worries me, especially defensively. I mean, Italian teams in general are, and Napoli definitely is.
Mm.
So do we definitely see with our win that Napoli then would go out? Or is Red Star going to pull off some kind of miracle?
I hope so. Imagine it. Oh, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? Imagine seeing Neymar in the Europa League. It's what dreams are made of.
Rolling around in the Europa League.
I know. Let's see how when you want to roll around in Russia when it's minus 20 outside and the snow 7 feet high. See how your little Brazilian legs are rolling around the floor then. No, for me, I, of course, we're worried right now, but there's a possibility that we could still finish top of the group. It sounds absolutely ludicrous, but Red Star done a job on Liverpool comfortably. Let's be honest, Red Star would comfortably beat Liverpool. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go out and comfortably beat PSG, but you just never know, and it depends on how PSG want to play. Are they going to be up for it? To me, it didn't look like Liverpool were up for it when we played them. So no, it's going to be really interesting. So I know we're all going to be watching out for the Red Star game as well. So be nice.
No, I know I'm going to try to have them both on at the same time. So I'll have the live updates and probably be shrieking the entire time. But what do you guys what do y'all see the score line mean in that game?
I think PSG wins that one. I mean, as much as I would like to see the opposite, obviously, I think PSG wins that one easily. That's like a 4-1. Having watched the first game they played against them, and that's a team, and we were the same way. If we could get our goal in there, it was going to be floodgates, and it was going to be 4-5. We just played stupid, really, and we put ourselves into the position we're in now. I feel like PSG will score, and then it'll just be like floodgates. It'll end up being like a 4-1, 5-1 kind of game.
Yeah, if you ask me head, I agree. If you ask me heart, I'm going to say 1-1. So I'm going to go with my heart, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to say 1-1. A little last-minute Red Star equaliser. And Liverpool go on and win 1-0, just scrape it by, just so we can feel like we just made it again and get all the other fans riled up. Fantastic.
Poor Gigi Buffon.
Oh, I know. It's the only guy I actually want to win the Champions League. If it's not Liverpool, I don't mind Buffon. He just went to the wrong club to do it. So, I wish... I'm sorry, mate, but no, you're going to be playing in the Europa League. Come on, Red Star.
All right. And then do y'all have any thoughts going in to the weekend? I don't want to talk about it too much. It is a week away, but what are you thinking about that game coming up?
For me, I think he's going to do it, isn't he? Let's be honest. He's going to do it again. And he's going to come and not have a shot on target again, like he's done the last 2 times he's came. He's going to Mourinho it. But the thing is for Liverpool, of what the results have done on the weekend, is that it's given Liverpool, you can afford to take a draw. I know that sounds absolutely crazy. We want Liverpool to win every game. But it's not awful, Liverpool drawing at home to Man United. It's not, oh my God, because City are above us again. It doesn't matter if City go above us now. It matters if City's above us in May. I think we're all getting excited, Liverpool being top of the league, and so we should. Of course, it's brilliant. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else in the league, but I mean, it's all about what happens in May. The way that City played on the weekend, they looked like they were short of ideas. They looked a bit tired, and for me, I'm okay with it. If he comes and we get the 0-0, he does, and he gets what he wants, and we have 30 shots on target, it's going to be frustrating, of course it is. But it's all about what happens, especially on January the 3rd, of course, when we play them. But it shows you on the weekend that other clubs around the league are going to be looking, going, well, that City team isn't undefeated. That City team are not, teams are showing up beating against City. Teams are showing up just to try to do damage limitation. But when it actually looks and they go, well, actually, Chelsea have got at them there, and there's a couple of mistakes, set pieces and things like that, where they got at them, that might make other teams actually play against them. So I'm fine with it. I'm okay. I think Liverpool will win the game. But if it does happen, I don't want Liverpool fans to just lose their heads. Oh, that's it, blah, blah. No, it's not. It's not. Everyone should just relax. If he goes out and he gets his 0-0, he gets his 0-0. And he goes out and they go out and beat Everton, They're only a point above us. We still took a point off them compared to where we were last week at the start of the weekend. Sorry. So, no, I'm fine with it, to be honest. I think we'll beat them. I think he'll come and do what he does, gets his bus out. He loses the keys for the bus. And it's what he does, isn't it? Let's be honest. And he's the best at it. So, no, I'm fine with it. I back Liverpool, as I say, on the 80th minute, 0-0. I'll back Liverpool still to score. 85th minute, I'll still back us to score. I think we're that good. I think we are that good of a team.
I think we will win. I mean, it depends a lot on, obviously, what happens on Tuesday in terms of how we approach the game. But I really think, this is me going, see, this is the optimist in me coming out. I really think Everton does us a favor. And that
brilliant,
really
wouldn't it?
helps us going into the United game where we win just because of the boost it provides. I really think Everton plays really well against top teams. I mean, they play really well against us. And I feel like they can help us out and do us a favor, get a draw or something like that against City, which would be a huge boost. And with that boost at Anfield, especially if, Tuesday goes well, we handle United. My hatred for United is actually above my hatred for Everton. So I really hope we win this one. This means a lot more to me personally, having, grown up with a brother who's a United fan. So I really hope we win that one. And I think we will, especially if things line up. And I think I have a good feeling about that one. I have a good feeling about the Everton game. And I have a good feeling about the United game. I think we're just going to handle them pretty well. He's going to come. He's going to park the bus. But I feel like we have a lot more weapons to open the door and run in. And once we score one, I mean, that team is a team that can collapse any second. I know they had a couple of comeback wins and stuff, but it won't happen against Liverpool. I guarantee that.
And I know that they both, City and United, both have a bit of a different, like they're both all the way, they're through in the Champions League. So right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I feel like
United is
this week mentally is going to be a lot different for them than it is for us, and I feel like we're just going to charge through it. Whereas I don't know. I feel like people are talking all about the mind games with Pep and everything like that, which maybe there is something going on, but I feel like as far as with us, it's just we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. But with them, I don't know. It just seems like that it's going to be an up and a down for them. But we're just going steadily uphill, rising up. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I mean, United still has a tough away game, and yeah, they might rest some people, but they're still going away. They're playing on Wednesday. Right, instead of us. Yeah, they're playing on Wednesday. So, and I mean, they're going to have to play some starters. Nobody's roster is that deep. You can't just play the bench. So there's going to be some players that have played Wednesday going away to Spain, playing against a pretty decent Valencia team. So they will have some of that, left over. Not as much as we will, especially psychologically. But yeah, you might be right where that might, especially if we win on Tuesday, that momentum can keep building. I mean, we just, like I said, I thought it was huge. I know it wasn't top teams we played against, but those two away games back-to-back at Burnley and Bournemouth, I think are a huge momentum builder for this team.
Yeah, the same. I think with United going to Valencia, we forget that, yes, United are through, but United still want to finish top, to get the easier draw. You get seeded, of course. So they still kind of have something to play for. I think Mourinho also, it's a bit like the Ancelotti thing. He's in a bit of a stick or twist situation because what you do, your team just won 4-1 at home. It's the best performance they've probably played in 12 months. Now, do you rest 7 of the players or do you keep them going? Do you go, right, we just found a bit of a groove, go out and beat Valencia 2-3-0, then go into the Liverpool game? Or do you rest 7 and go, well, I'll take my chance on a rest and then try and get them up for the Liverpool game? I think he's in a really weird spot there now, Mourinho. Because Lukaku's finally ended his goal scoring drought on the weekend. Do you go, well, you're not playing against Valencia now, or do you want the guy to go out and score 2, and then go into the Liverpool game with all that confidence? I think it's really interesting, the Valencia game. I'm actually really intrigued on what he's going to start. Personally, I think he makes 2 or 3 changes. I think Matic might finally get the rest that he looks like he's been crying out for 2 years, because the man, I've seen World War II tanks turn quicker than him. I think 3 or 4 of them need a rest at least. I think De Gea might get a rest, but I think he starts Lukaku. I think he starts Mata. I still think he might start Martial and Rashford. So I think it's going to be really interesting on Wednesday to see what he plays.
Yeah, I definitely have to force myself to watch that.
It's a nice cure for insomnia if you're suffering. So,
All right, so I have us down for David. You said 3-0 for Tuesday. Timucin, you said 4-2, right?
Yeah, let's go with that.
4-2. I'm just remembering. Like, I know we're playing at Anfield and everything, but we had 0 shots on target in that game.
We forget though that game. It was in between, I think, the City and the Chelsea game. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I think, we were in the middle of that horrendous run that we had. And I think, I'm sure it was in the middle of City and Chelsea. I might be wrong. Someone's probably going to correct me if I am.
It was the beginning of October. That's all I remember.
Yeah, and I just think, if you offer anyone, any Liverpool fan, you can get a team under the lights at Anfield in the Champions League, no one wants that. No opposing team wants that. I tell you right now, if Liverpool get through this group stage, they will be the most avoided team in the Champions League, because every single one will go, we do not want to go back to Anfield under lights. We might beat them 2-0 at our ground. We do not want to go back to Anfield. It has these weird connotations where we can turn the best players with the best squads come to Anfield and just turn to jelly. So I honestly think Napoli, they might be looking right now and go, oh, we're not afraid. Wait till the first 10 minutes and there's a wall coming at you, the noise, and Liverpool are flying. I honestly think we'll win comfortably. And I think if we get through to the last 16, we'll be the most avoided team in the group in the last 16.
All right. Well, I'm gonna change mine from 4 to 3-1.
Just the 3. I'll take it.
Just the 3.
It's not the league. We don't need 5 goals. It's not a podcast if I haven't brought up the goal differential.
I was waiting for that one, actually. I thought you were going to be all over that.
Goal difference doesn't mean anything, guys. We win the league on points, not goals. I hope we win every single game 1-0 from now to the end of the season. That'll do. Win the league then.
Well, I mean, isn't it? It's going to be goal differential that gets us through when we beat Napoli.
Yeah, depending. Yeah, it's because if we beat them, I don't know. There's so many connotations. I've seen about 15 different ways we can get through. I've seen about 11 different ways we can go out. I'm not even sure anymore. All I know is Liverpool need to win the game. Win the game by a couple of goals, please, guys. Make it nice and easy, like the Bournemouth game. That'll be perfect. Go out and win 4-0. So I can sit there and relax without losing the rest of my hair. So, no, I'm cool with it.
All right. Well, I think we're all in agreement then that it's going to be a high intensity game probably in the second half. And there's going to be a lot of goals. Hopefully all by Liverpool.
Awesome.
That would be perfect. A big Alisson header.
Yeah.
From his own area. Just headers it all the way into the opposite goal. I think that's where it went, that ball.
I can see it happening.
I think it's actually due to land at JFK in about 20 minutes. Unbelievable.
All right. Well, did we have any other thoughts about that game before we end the discussion and end the podcast?
Not really about that game. Can we talk a little bit about Chelsea and how awesome Chelsea are? And I've always been a Chelsea fan. And how brilliant David Luiz is, and he's the best centre-back in the Premier League. I can talk about that. It was absolutely wonderful, wasn't it? To see Pep on the sideline, it was absolutely fantastic. It looked like his favourite toy had been taken away. It was absolutely brilliant.
I think it was nice to see to show that City is beatable.
Yeah,
not only to the rest of the league, but to anyone, so they don't have that, these guys are rolling thing, which they were, let's face it. And obviously it puts us on top, and hopefully, it's kind of like puts out a recipe for other teams to follow in terms of like what you got to do if you want to tackle City. And that's why I really hope Everton will do us a favor. It's like the blue jersey thing. Now we're gonna have to root for these jackasses. So,
could you imagine it if Liverpool win the league by 2 or 3 points, and it's because of Everton with the Divock Origi goal and then beating City? Oh, honestly,
bittersweet justice, I think so.
It's just perfect, isn't it? It's just absolute. I couldn't. Honestly, if we win the league by 2 points, honestly, and it's Divock Origi, sorry, I've already priced my flights up to go back home in case we win the league. So I will be going back to Liverpool if we win in the league. So yeah, and if it's all based on Divock Origi, my God, I may never be seen again.
Well, you've got to start whittling the statue that you're gonna put out.
I know. I swear to God, I don't know what position I'm gonna put him in. They'll put him like Julius Caesar, like on a throne. I'm not sure. He needs to be, and I'm gonna make it bigger than Bill Shankly, of course. Divock Origi, yeah, guys. And if he comes on and gets the winner against Napoli, oh my word! And this might be the last podcast. I could end up dead and I get ditched somewhere. I'll be so happy.
We will give a podcast after him.
Oh, we're not going to call it American Scouts anymore. It's called the Origi podcast. Come on, Divock, my guy. As you can see, guys, I'm still very excited over the derby. It's something I'll never forget. So I think it's probably the best day of my life. I'm saying that now when the wife's not in, but and I don't think she'll ever listen to the podcast.
That's good timing on your part.
Yeah, of course, and I don't think she'll ever listen to this podcast. So I'm going to say it was the best day of my life, Divock Origi.
Hopefully Tuesday can top it off.
Fingers crossed.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much concludes most of our thoughts on the last couple of games and the games ahead. We have all the predictions in, so hopefully one of us is right. And we'll definitely have some comments and some commentary and some thoughts after that game, no matter what happens. So yeah, we'll have that coming Tuesday or Wednesday for sure.
Awesome, no problem.
See you guys then.
Have a good night. Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.